Hi there, YouTubers. Well, this will be the second video of my 3-in-1, 1-in-3 black and white shawl that I'm making out of this 10-2 mercerized cotton. So I'm in the weaving process. I did not show you the threading. I didn't show you threading the heddles. But I am going to include in this video, and you'll see it in about a minute or so, some screenshots from the computer of the Tempo Weave program where I designed this cloth the way I wanted it, and where I printed the threading instructions, if you will, that I then took over to here. I don't have the piece of paper with me right now, but in material. I'm going to show you the printed instructions for threading because I've done it a couple different ways, and you'll see that in just a minute. So right now, let's just aim you down. You can just kind of see that there's the cloth so far. I'm probably 2/3 through with the first of 2 shawls. So I've got a ways to go. And now let's take a look at, stupid camera. Let's take a look at the computer part of this, of how I did the design work and what this looks like. Okay, YouTubers, here is the pattern for the current project in Tempo Weave. Now, there's more to it over on this left side. I'm going to have to shrink this a little bit, and it's already shrunk. But there you can see the full width of this, all 618 threads. And I'm going to go down and just give you an idea of what it looks like. Through the whole project, you get an idea. Let's take a look at this in, can we go into cloth view? Cloth view. Quick render. We'll do a full render. It's taking its time thinking. That's the intended full project. I don't know if this thing will enlarge. There you go. That's my goal. Can I flip over and do the back side? Back. So this is the front side. And when you flip the back, it changes the dimension, changes the size, the zoom. Let's just go to this. And now we'll take, where does it give me my choice of front or back? Back view. There's the back view. And finally, since we're in Tempo Weave and we've got the ability, let's do the cloth simulation. And there's the cloth simulation for this. And the back. But what I wanted to show you mostly, well, there's 2 things. Let's increase our zoom in. If you look here at the treadling, this is the treadling that I used for designing it and setting it up. This is not the treadling that I used for the actual weaving, because I flip for each of the blocks. Let's enlarge this a little bit more. So imagine that the treadles 1 through 4 are block A, treadles 5 through 8 are block B, and 9 through 12 are block C. What I did was I flip-flopped treadling 2 and 3 with each other. So instead of treadling 1, 2, 3, 4, I treadle 1, 3, 2, 4. And I did that so that I could get a walking effect whilst I'm actually treadling. Other than that, it's exactly the same. I've just flip-flopped the two center ones. The same way here. I've flip-flopped treadles 6 and 7. And again, I've flip-flopped treadles 10 and 11 for the purpose of turning this into a little bit more of a walking treadling. But that's no biggie. You can do that any way you want if you ever do this on your loom, right? It's just that I happen to like walking treadlings. So now let's look at the threading. I put a floating selvage in, so I've shown it as if there is a 13th shaft. There is no 13th shaft on my machine, but I put one thread at that position. Obviously, it's not connected to any treadles because there's nothing there. That's how I indicate my floating selvage. Finally, we're going to print the treadling. So let's go to File, Print, Threading. And here's what it comes out as when you print the threading in Tempo Weave. And it's a pretty good method of doing it, but I'm not totally happy with it. So and I'm going to show a picture of the PDF that I printed from this in the video. So just give me a second on that. Let's close this. Let's close out of Tempo Weave. We'll do a save. All right, here we are looking at that exact same WIF file, but we're in Fiberworks PCW version 4.1 silver, just so you can see the difference. Same file, same thing. And again, what I want to do is show you the printed threading. Preview and print. I don't want to mess with all this stuff. I don't want the full drawdown. All I want is the threading. Here's what the threading looks like in Fiberworks for the printout. And again, I printed this to a PDF file, and I will include a picture of that PDF file in this video. So there you see that. I'm not going to go any further with that one. And finally, we have this program. Now, I think some of you know, but many of you don't know, that before I retired, I had worked in, well, when I started working, it was called data processing. But I was a programmer for almost 40 years, working with different computer programs. And I'm not 100% happy with the printout that comes from either Fiberworks or Tempo Weave as far as the threading. So here is the program that I wrote in the language called Python that reads the WIF file which Tempo Weave creates and prints the threading in a format that I like. And I will show that to you also as a PDF, which I'm going to just include a copy of that PDF in this video. So there's my fine attempt at programming in Python. All right, here we are looking at the PDF that was printed from TempoWeave. You can see their logo there, of the threading of this project. Now, there's a couple things that are interesting here. This is the floating selvage. It's listed as a 3. It should be a 13. But to keep it with single digits, they just put a 3. Then the rest of the threads, so for my threading beginning on the left-hand side, no, on the right-hand side, we'll go with shaft 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. until we get down to working with 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is fine. But if you remember from the last video, I said I have my bouts of thread in bouts of threads that represent 1 inch of warp thread. And so 1 inch of warp thread would take me to right about here between the 3 and the 4. And it's hard to tell that in this method. And the same thing is true when I printed from PCW. Again, you can see they've at least put the 13 instead of the 3, but it's still, you're copying it 1, 2, 3 there. So what I've done in the program that I wrote, and I should include more stuff here with the text and author and this stuff, but I'm listing the thread. I've got a double line here. Each one of these groupings represents 1 inch worth of threading. So thread number 1 is going to be shaft 13. That's my floating selvage. Thread number 2 is going to be shaft 1. Thread 3 is shaft 2. Thread 4 is shaft 3. Thread 5 is shaft 4. Thread 6 is shaft 1, etc., etc. And I go through here. Each of these blocks of rows represents 1 inch worth of threading. Go down, there's my first page. There's my second page. And the length of this will adjust based on the number of threads per inch. So this is what I did to rearrange the printing of the threading to work more the way I think. It doesn't match the way either of the other programs do it, but hey, I'm the one who's got to use it. I'm also the programmer that got to create my own method of doing it, and I'm happy with it. Well, I'm at the loom. I'm going to show you a little bit of the weaving on this project. I'm very close to the end of a bobbin, so we'll start out just showing you the weaving, and then I'm going to change bobbins and do a little bit more weaving. From the pattern, you can see in the drawdown that this is a 3-block 3-in-1 or 1-in-3, depending on which side of it you're looking at, twill. And because it's 3 blocks, and each one of those blocks to be a twill like that requires 4 treadles, so it means 12 treadles. So you're going to see, if this other camera works properly, that I've got a camera down by my feet, and I'm moving I'm starting out with treadles 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's my A block. Treadle 6, 7, 8, and 9 is my B block. And 10, 11, 12, and 13 is my C block. And in this little bit of weaving that you're going to see, and with my feet movement under there, you'll see how I'm moving my feet back and forth across all of the treadles to work in different blocks. And again, it's kind of a nuisance to go back and forth like that, but it's got to be done if you're going to get a complex pattern like this. So it's one of the prices you pay of having your feet moving from one side of the loom to the other a fair distance. But I think it's worth you seeing that. And we'll show you more of this project, of what it looks like, in just a little bit. Oh, looks like I've run out of thread. I knew it was going to happen pretty soon. So, have another bobbin. And just pull that one kind of through like that. Going to advance the warp a little bit and move my measuring stick. You'll notice I am using a tempo on this one. Grab a pin so I can move down the grow grain that I'm using for measuring. Let's advance this. We can go just a teeny bit more. You guys will see the pattern a little bit better when I get this off of here. It's kind of a complex thing. But let's I'm going to stop this camera for just a second and then start them both up again. This pattern's got 3 blocks to it, an A, B, C block. And the C block is what I'm going to do next, 4 threads. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the C block. Now we're going to do the B block, which is in the center of the treadling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll do the A block, which is way over on the right-hand side of the treadling. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll do that one more time, starting again with the C block. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the B. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally the A again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, can you tell by my, hopefully the treadling is working down here too with the other camera. When I've got 3 blocks like this, and each of them take 4 treadles. With this 14 treadle machine, even though I'm only using 12 of them, working to one side or the other moves your feet an awful lot, and you're kind of twisting your butt on the seat here to reach towards each of the treadles as you work in the groups. And it's not exactly the most comfortable thing to do, to go back and forth. It's much easier to work right in the middle. But the advantage to doing this, of course, is you can make much more complex patterns. The disadvantage is it takes you moving your feet all over the place to do the treadling. But there you go, that's that. I don't know how well this pattern is showing up just yet in the camera. Remove those Irish pennants. There we go. Okay, gang, this video has gotten long enough. I know it's a lot of computer stuff, and not all of you are interested in computer stuff, but there's also some weaving in it, so you did see me do a little bit of this weaving. So until the next time around on YouTube, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if this is the kind of video that interests you, and I will catch you the next time on YouTube, sometime in the hopefully not too distant future. Bye-bye.